sort of told my story. Oh, good. Okay. He sort of told my story in a different way. I have two of very similar lessons from social media, but a much different example. And the main lesson is how wonderful social media is, how amazing it is, how it can connect people through time and space and lifetimes, and also it stays there forever and ever and ever. So take that, rewind it back, and I will take you back to 1993 when my parents got divorced. We were one of the first people to have a computer. It wasn't 1993, it was earlier. In 1993, I was about, I guess, 19. So we got a computer when I was 12. As soon as it was on the internet, my mother was on the internet. She was on Prodigy when there was Prodigy. She used America Online when it was America Online. If any of you remember what that is, hopefully. And she was really into the chat rooms. She's a little bit introverted, but she's a great personality, very bubbly and dramatic, but it came out better through writing. And I think she had this way of connecting with people on the internet that she couldn't or didn't necessarily do in person. I get this from my dad, this whole not shy thing, get that from him. So my parents were divorced in 1993, and my mother was the one that kicked him out. And they were in a very tight group of friends, and they all thought she was nuts. What are you gonna do? How could you throw him out? But you know that saying, like, you'd rather be married or would you rather be right? Like, she would rather be right. She's not into being married. So she threw him out, and she was on the computer a lot. She started dating men a lot, and everyone was like, they're gonna kill you in your sleep. Like, what are you doing? Don't date men on the internet. And actually, she did find a man, finally, who she said was like a cowboy. He was a schmuck from Alabama who basically left his family, went out for a pack of cigarettes, and drove on up to Maryland to live with my mother. And there you go, I have a stepfather. Right on. So, she was a great mom. She was an amazing mom. She was a great cook. She was really funny. And, she got married, and then I got married, and then I got divorced, and I was about to get married again. Now we're fast forwarding, lots of time, to 2004, when she was diagnosed with cancer, stage 4. And we couldn't figure out what kind. That's all I knew. It was in August. I was supposed to get married Halloween. It's 2004. And so she needed to start chemo, so I had to move my wedding up so she could start chemo and not look like in her, so she could look normal, she says. So I moved my wedding up, she started chemo, and she passed away 8 months later. And I was devastated. She was my best friend, but also, like, I'm a terrible mother. Like, I have no domestic skills whatsoever. I can't cook, I can't clean, I don't like kids. I have two, right? So I would call her all the time, like, he is driving me, like, my son's driving me crazy, my daughter, she likes to wear Band-Aids all the time, like, I don't know what to do. And now I had nobody. I was all alone, nobody. And I was really lonely for her. And for about, I took the money, a little bit of money that she left me, bought a computer, quit my job, and I was like, she was 54 when she died. She was young. So I felt like, this life is so short. I'm just going to take the money and I'm just going to work from home and start my career, and I became a designer and then later a social media consultant. And what do social media consultants do? I mean, we Google a lot. And I was lonely for her one day, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to Google her email address and maybe I'll find something interesting about. I learned a lot about my mother from Googling, because back then we didn't have Facebook and YouTube and stuff that you could break down. We had forums, and we were just starting to have, like, Amazon reviews. That was really Prodigy was the beginning of social media because you could talk to people, but the definition I looked up of social media is user-generated content. And chat rooms aren't really content, but forums and reviews are. So the first thing that comes up is a bookmarked list on all recipes, 75 recipes that she had bookmarked. And first I thought, she doesn't know how to do that on her own? I can't believe it. Like, what a fraud she was, wow. But then I was like so grateful because I can cook all these things that she had bookmarked and even reviewed. Like, this is a great recipe, my kids love it. And I was like, wasn't that great? But you know, but I got to see, like, she was like basically like telling me, like, this is a good recipe, this is great for the holidays, you should eat here, you should eat there. She's like mothering everyone all across the country. And then I saw she was a beader. She liked to do crafts and stuff. So she was posting in all kinds of forums about all the different beads she found, and she got really close with those people. And so it turns out that when I started bookmarking the things that she had chronicled from diagnosis to death, every appointment she had at the doctor, every diagnosis, she was misdiagnosed 4 times. I didn't know. I had no idea. She wasn't telling me any of that. We lived 2 hours apart. So I saw that she was, at one point she was diagnosed with colon cancer, but refused to publicly support it because she was so offended that the ribbon is brown. And she was like, even plaid would be better. How dare they? How dare they? I'm never wearing that. And I got to see that every time we would come to visit, she would tell her friends and use all these emoticons. Like, I took for granted, when you have a parent, you go see them, they're just like, yeah, sure, come. They don't tell you that they're like, oh, my kids are coming, But she would tell them, and I got to read it, and then she told the whole story of how she named me, and it turns out that she had this big argument because my father wanted to name me Blanche. And she was like, I'm never naming my kid Blanche, It's so ridiculous. Who names their kid Blanche? Like, there's no Blanches anymore. And I got to see that she used to sign every signature, Emily and Nathan's grandmother, which are my kids, and it meant so much to her. And I got to see her mothering other people. She told them what doctors to see, what medications to take. She told them what to eat, what not to eat, what helped her, and she would even like talk about business advice. If you can't make that decision, how can you even run a business? That kind of stuff. So it was just a grab from her. I felt like she was talking to me. And so the lessons are, again, how wonderful social media is that you can connect with someone, but also it stays forever. That was 8 years ago, and you can still Google her and see all of it. And that's it.